What you know about waking up every day like you're on a mission. Big Sean in One Man Can Change the World. Sadly, many people cannot relate to the question Big Sean asked above. Many people wake up without a clear idea of what they need to do or achieve. When you walk around the street, you'll see many people walking around looking busy. However, the truth is that many are only wandering around. They have no clue about the direction they are heading in life. Many go out wandering like a goat and come back wanting. The aimless journey begins all over again the second day. Such people have empty lives that they want to fill. Some individuals turn to social media to find something they can be engaged in to forget about their miserable life. That is why we have many people on online platforms that troll others at any slight chance. Many of them don't have a life in the real world. They are giants and monstrous online, but their lives count for nothing in reality. One of the worst things that can happen to a person is to go through life without a direction. Such a person will not be able to measure his or her progress. He or she will always depend on the affirmation and acceptance of others to feel good, which is dangerous. In this short but promising journey, we'll explore how you can live a meaningful and purposeful life. You'll learn tips that will enable you to enhance clarity and have clarity in your daily endeavor. In this video, we'll talk about Brain Power and Brain Health 101. The advantages of finding your true north are numerous. It enhances your chances of being comfortable in your skin and finding your best niche. The perks of starting with clarity include the following. Defined goals. There's no way you'll be able to set specific goals when you don't have a clear idea of what you want to do. You only end up setting targets that are ambiguous, based on questionable criteria. When people ask you how you intend to achieve the goal, you might find yourself shocked because you'll realize that you haven't thought things through. Some individuals will accuse others of being pessimistic for questioning the feasibility of their dreams. Don't be deceived. It's not everyone that questions you that doesn't believe in you. There are times that your friends will realize that you're only aiming to reach a target based on the wrong motives. It might be obvious to them that you don't have a plan and your goals are not realistic. Don't start fighting them and accusing them, especially when they are constructive in their criticism. Ask them what they think are the missing gaps so that you can go to the drawing board together and start all over again. It's better to start again than embark on a fruitless and meaningless endeavor that is doomed to fail. Clear direction. When you start with clarity, you know where you are heading. Apart from knowing the direction of where you want to go, you'll also be able to give details of how you'll get there and the sacrifices you will need to pay to reach the target. When you don't have a clue about what it takes to achieve a goal, you'll be surprised somewhere along the line and will realize that you've not prepared ahead. Being mentally prepared is the most important readiness you need to scale through potential challenges. When you don't know what to expect, your mental strength might not be enough to see you through. Your skills and expertise cannot always bail you out. If you're not prepared for what is coming ahead, you might collapse and give up. So, it's crucial that you start a journey with a good grasp of what to expect. You should be able to highlight the risks and potential challenges you might face to a reasonable extent. When this is missing, you'll eventually find yourself in no man's land and might have to start all over again. A sense of meaning. Nothing beats that feeling of waking up in the morning and you feel that you're living a meaningful life. When your life doesn't make sense to you, you'll feel like staying in bed all day long. In the worst case, you might be considering suicide because you cannot fathom why you're living. Don't wait until things get so bad that you have suicidal ideations. Draft a plan for your life. Sit down and draft a plan for your life. Ask yourself, who am I? What kind of man or woman would you like to become? The earlier you find answers to these questions, the better for you. When you don't have a plan for your life, others will use you to achieve theirs. You should have values that resonate with your personality and set your goals based on them. How do you see the world? What can you contribute to make life worthwhile for others? What can you do that will make you feel that you are doing far more than just existing? Provide answers to these questions as soon as possible to give yourself an essence to live. Identification of distractions. It's when you know where you're going and what you need to do that you can be able to identify potential distractions. For example, when you're playing football, the aim is to score against the opponent and prevent the opponent from putting the ball in your net. Anything that prevents you from achieving these two objectives isn't worth it. In the same way, when you have a clear plan for your life, you'll be able to tell when you are deviating from the original plan. It's a disaster when an individual is already going astray and he or she cannot tell. You cannot plan to become a successful real estate agent, and you spend most of your time reading about the latest fashion trends. How is that supposed to contribute to your target? It's not as though you should never do anything else with your time when you have a goal. Still, you need to devote quality time to your primary assignment. Resilience. You can only stay strong and keep pushing when you're sure that you want to achieve is worth it. When you're not convinced that what you're trying to attain will give you the ultimate satisfaction at the end of the day, you'll break down at the slightest sign of a storm. It's your vision of how what you intend to achieve will make you feel in the long run that will keep you focused when things are not going your way. Every career path has its unique challenges. In fact, you'll have reasons to be disappointed with the people around you at one point or the other, regardless of how much you love them or they love you. What will keep you going during those turbulent days is the reason you decided to venture into the endeavor in the first place. That's why it's essential that you have genuinely solid reasons for doing something. Compassion. You don't only need compassion for others, you also need it for yourself. You'll fall at some point because no one is infallible. When you start out with clarity, you'll also realize that it's possible to make mistakes at some point. You would have also planned what you will do in case that day comes. When you don't plan ahead to forgive yourself and others, you'll struggle to do so when things go bad. Plan ahead to overlook your flaws and forgive yourself to give yourself the impetus to start over again or continue when you fail. Life doesn't always go in the direction of your plan. You should have positive expectations. So if things are always going on smoothly, you need to check what you are doing. It is likely that you are doing less than your ability. Positive self-image. A clear view of how you want to proceed makes you feel good about yourself. It gives you the impression that you're in control and taking responsibility for your life. No one wants to feel that he or she doesn't have a direction in life. It can ruin your self-esteem and affect your confidence. Meanwhile, low self-esteem will make you settle for less than you deserve. You'll be happy with average performance and feel that you are outdoing yourself when you're not taking full advantage of your potential. Indeed, you should have a realistic evaluation of yourself. Still, you shouldn't settle for just anything that comes your way in life. When life doesn't give you what you want and deserve, refuse to take it. Stage a comeback and demand what you deserve. Of course, it is easier said than done. However, when you start out with clarity, you know what you want and will not settle for less. In this video, we'll discuss signs of lack of clarity and focus. Many people are trying to make sense of their lives because of uncertainty. The good news is that it is possible to have clarity and a focus in life. However, you cannot enjoy these when you have not been able to ascertain your level of clarity. In this chapter, we'll highlight and discuss some of the common signs of uncertainty. Multiple goals. Nothing speaks more volumes about the fact that you don't have a plan than when you have numerous goals. In the long run, you'll be confused. It's not as though you need to be a specialist in one area. Still, you'll increase your chances of success when you have a particular niche that maximizes your strength. Every field has its niche. Medical professionals don't focus on the same area. The ones that treat teeth are different from the ones that treat eyes. As an investor, there is nothing wrong with diversification. Moreover, it's not advisable to put your eggs in one basket. Yet you should have the main area that you give the most attention to. It's better to have an area where you are an expert. In that niche, you know the potential risks and chances of success of a project due to your expertise and experience. If you have other areas you would like to invest in, seek the help of experts in that niche to help you make the best investment decision. Instability. Another way you can know that you don't have a clear plan is when you have a culture of jumping from one career path to the other. It's normal when you realize at some point in your life that you need to make tweaks here and there in the light of new realities. You might have chosen a career path at some point because you don't have enough information about it. You'll not be the first person to choose a profession out of excitement. Still, you need to check your approach to things if you barely work a job within 6 months or a year within 3 years. Of course, there are unfortunate situations, such as your company being forced to lay off workers due to economic situations. This was the case for many people during the coronavirus pandemic. However, if the reason for your instability is that you keep leaving a job and applying for another one, you need to go back to the drawing board and ask yourself what you really want. Frequent chop and change. As we grow older, we make better decisions because of better exposure and experiences. However, something is seriously amiss when you make radical changes within a short period. This instability can also be seen in the light of your relationship and marital choices. It's not normal when your best friend 6 months ago stopped being your friend. It gets worse when it happens a lot. hot. It is at the height of it when you have a culture of dating different people within a short period. It is a sign that you don't have a clear plan and reason for starting out in the first place. You will hurt many people when you don't start out with clarity. You'll hurt your boss when you abandon a job, especially when that person sees you as a quality professional. In the same way, you'll hurt your partner when you walk out of a relationship, especially when the person is already planning a future with you. So to avoid breaking the hearts of people and making unnecessary enemies, start out with clarity. Consistent trial and error approach. There's no way you'll be functioning at the peak of your powers. There are situations when you have to try different approaches before you stick to a winning formula. For example, the coach of a football club might try different formations before he or she finally decides the one that is best for the characteristics of the players at his or her disposal. However, you cannot go through life experimenting all the way. Some experiments can cost you a lot. Besides, you might hurt people along the way by starting and stopping. So it is better that you think things through before you start. You will confuse yourself and confuse the people that find themselves as guinea pigs of your experiment. Some of them might feel used and hate you. It's not everyone that forgives easily. Some of them might even hurt you or hurt your loved ones. Therefore, a trial and error approach isn't the best for all parties involved. Have a clear plan and follow through unless it's obvious that it cannot work anymore. Dissatisfaction. Even when you are yet to achieve your aim, the fact that you feel that you know what you need to do to make it happen gives you positive emotions in the meantime. Your happiness should be your priority. You'll not always get what you want at the time you want it in life. You'll have to wait for the right opportunity to pounce. When you don't have a clear plan, you'll jump at every opportunity without thinking whether it's right for you or not. It's not every opportunity that will suit you. You need to weigh the pros and cons of a situation before you jump into it. If you dive in without considering how it might affect you in the future, you will either have to quit apologetically or stick there like a stoic. You'll be suffering and you will feel that you are stuck. It's not a good feeling when you feel that you keep making mistakes and missing the target. To avoid living your life that way, start with a clear plan. Lack of confidence. Overconfidence isn't a good attribute to possess. Still, it is better to have extremely high self-esteem than have none. People might perceive you as an arrogant person when you have high self-esteem. However, you cannot afford to look down on yourself. You should have a realistic evaluation of your chances, but you should never allow anyone to write you off. You should back yourself even when no one is giving you a chance. Confidence is often a product of a clear plan. When you know what you want and how you can make it happen, it builds your self-esteem. You already know what it takes to be a success, and you will be fighting tooth and nail to ensure that your dream comes to pass. The reverse is the case when you have no idea what to expect. You will be hoping that a force out there helps you, which affects your level of confidence. Emotional disturbances. When you don't have a good grasp of what you want and how to get it, you will feel like a fish out of water. It gets worse when your friends begin to talk about their plans, what they have done so far, and what they still need to do. You'll want to avoid those kind of conversations as much as possible, because you know that you don't have something tangible to talk about. The good news is that it's possible to rid yourself of this feeling by putting the appropriate measures in place. It begins by eliminating uncertainty and choosing what will be worth your time and energy. In the next chapter, we'll discuss the hacks that can help you put your life together and have a clear picture of the kind of man or woman of your dream. It's easier when you know how to go about it. In this video, we'll discover about how to eliminate uncertainty. Distractions are part and parcel of life, so you are not alone if you're uncertain about what to do and how to go about life. We have stated some of the signs of lack of clarity. If you discovered that you need to be more specific and deliberate about your life, leverage the hacks below. Set SMART goals. You might have come across the SMART acronym before. It represents the 5 attributes of a feasible target. They are as follows: S, specific; M, measurable; A, attainable; R, relevant; T, time-bound. Setting SMART goals is one of the best ways to have clarity and eliminate uncertainty. It means that your targets will be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant to you, and will be achieved within a time frame. Specific implies that the objective is definite, while measurable means that you have specific benchmarks for evaluating your progress. Attainable implies that the goal is feasible, while relevant means that the target aligns with your personality, and achieving it will give you a sense of purpose. Time-bound means that you have a specific period when you intend to achieve your target. If your goals have all these attributes, it shows that you have taken time out to think things through before setting sail. You'll be able to eliminate uncertainty and focus on the task at hand. Ask questions. It is a sign of pride, folly, or a serious case of low self-esteem when an individual doesn't know how to solve a problem and wouldn't ask the people that can help out. Things are way easier in the modern world when it comes to finding valuable information that can help you in any endeavor. A simple internet search can give you access to numerous resources that can make things easier for you. This approach can help you to find out about a business before you invest in it, among other benefits. Nonetheless, it's not every time that you can find satisfactory answers online. There might be situations in which you'll need to talk to a person involved in that field to help you. Indeed, there are online platforms where you can have audio and video conversations. Still, don't hesitate to talk to a person that can give you a vivid explanation about that endeavor if you prefer one-on-one physical conversation. Find mentors. The importance of a mentor cannot be overemphasized. A mentor has the experience and has gone through the path you're about to tread, so the person knows the potential pitfalls and the likely challenges you might face. You'll be able to trust the judgment of the person because he or she has been through the thick and thin in the field and has a better understanding of what works and what wouldn't. When you have a mentor, you'll not go through life experimenting with different approaches. In most cases, your mentor will be able to give you a breakdown of the pros and cons of the different methods you can use to solve a problem. It's more effective when your mentor is also your sponsor, especially in a career path. A sponsor is a notch higher than a mentor. A mentor will give you the tips you can use to get to the top, while a sponsor will hold your hand and take you there. He or she will vouch for you in his or her sphere of influence, so that the people that trust him or her will give you the opportunities to show what you can do. Be accountable. The fact that you have a mentor doesn't mean that you are automatically accountable to him or her. You need to be deliberate about your accountability. Many people have mentors and people that are willing to help them, but their commitment to the relationship isn't good enough. No one will be committed and accountable to you when you are not committed and accountable to them. If you have a meeting with your mentor, don't get there late. No one likes to be taken for granted. If you have reasons to be late or absent from a meeting, inform the person ahead. If your mentor notices that you don't have value for time, it might discourage the person. Even when you're paying the person, courtesy demands that you let the person know when you'll not be available. No one will take you seriously when you have a bad habit of not keeping to time and lack accountability. Keep learning. Things will get clearer, and uncertainty will start to go away as you get more information. That's why great people are often avid readers. When you have more insight into a subject, you'll know the best way to approach it. You'll know the pros and cons of your decisions, and you'll be able to weigh your options before choosing an option. So you should never underestimate the impact of learning in any endeavor. Time invested in research isn't wasted. Rather, it's an investment that will yield dividends in the long run. Keep track of your progress. One of the reasons you need to set SMART goals is so that you'll be able to keep track of your progress. You should be able to tell whether you are improving or not. If you cannot evaluate your progress, it's a sign that you have a vague goal. Where were you? Where are you now? You should be able to answer these questions without sounding confused. Before you start any endeavor, ask yourself whether you will be able to tell whether you are making progress or not. If your answer to that question isn't an emphatic yes, then you need to reconsider the objective. Being able to keep track of your progress is essential, especially when you have long-term targets. Many people lose focus along the line when they set long-term goals. Therefore, it's vital that you have milestones that depict progress to evaluate how well you are doing. Damn the consequence. It's always good to have a clear plan as you pursue a target. However, in some cases, the reason you are uncertain is that you're scared. You should keep learning and seek better ways you can do something. Still, the truth is that you'll never know enough to do something. You should avoid making mistakes as much as possible because they can be costly sometimes. However, you shouldn't be too afraid to make mistakes. The lessons you learn as a result of your failure often stick more. You'll remember the pain and disappointments in the future, and it will guide your steps. You don't want to fall into the same ditch all over again. Therefore, you'll not want to use the same approach that didn't produce the kind of result you want. Your past errors make you wiser and better prepared for the future. So once you make a plan, think about the pros and cons, and damn the consequence. What if you fail? You aren't the first and won't be the last. Stand up and start all over again. In this video, we'll talk about living a meaningful life. Have you met some people that seem to have it all? They are focused, driven, and committed to certain things that make them the envy of others. You don't have to just wish you are like them. With the right and purposeful step, you can have a stamp of authority on the direction of your life. It all begins with finding something you can live or even die for. This section will do justice to that. Purpose, plan, and pursuit. The 3 words above define what it means and how to live a meaningful life. Purpose describes your reason for living. it is crucial that you discover the reason for your existence as soon as possible, because it will affect other areas of your life. It is when you know what you want to do with your life that you can know the kind of things you should put in your plans and the kind of things that shouldn't be found there. You're different from other people, and you need to recognize your uniqueness as soon as possible. Once you've recognized your strengths and gifts, the next stage is to create a plan that can help you to maximize them. Your plan is the map that will lead you to your destination. It begins in your head, but it's in your best interest that you don't leave it there. Write it out somewhere. Writing out your plans and targets has many benefits. One of them is that the writing process helps you to retain something more. Also, it will help you to be able to look at the plan and think about it again. Sometimes, due to different reasons, we lose the positive emotions we had when we were drafting a plan over time. It might be that you started feeling that your plans aren't feasible in the light of new realities. Therefore, you need to keep your focus by putting your plans into written form. Checking them will remind you about the reasons the targets were important in the first place. After making your plans, you are ready to pursue your targets. The pursuit of personal happiness. Why should you achieve your targets and feel empty and wasted at the end of the day? So it should be clear before you start pursuing a goal that it will increase your chances of happiness in the long run. Don't assume that you can be happy by reaching a target. Rather, be observant and make your findings. Are the people that have achieved your dreams happy? This is a crucial question you need to answer. It's true that there are some things that increase your chances of having positive emotions. Still, at the end of the day, happiness is a choice. Don't depend on your achievements and the approval of others to be happy. At the time of writing this, Jose Mourinho just got sacked at the Tottenham Football Club 6 days before he was meant to lead the team to play a cup final. It's quite difficult to imagine that he would be a happy man. This is someone that has won the UEFA Champions League 2 times at 2 different clubs, among other collective and individual accolades. His CV ought to have bought him some time, but it didn't for some reason. The system of this world is set up in such a way that you'll have to keep proving yourself all over again. So if you haven't decided to be happy regardless of what comes your way, you'll go through life being grumpy. Prioritizing legacies. Instant gratification feels nice in the short term. However, it can make you lose sight of the long-term benefits you might lose. Instant gratification will not make you start an endeavor with clarity. Your judgment will be clouded by what you stand to enjoy in the short run and make you forget all that you stand to enjoy or lose in the long run. Instead of short-term benefits, you should prioritize the legacies you can establish. It's this desire for instant gratification that makes people commit all sorts of atrocities we see around us. Many individuals go into a business with the aim of cashing out as soon as possible. As a result of their mindset, they are desperate. They don't mind ripping off others of their hard-earned money just to earn quick profits. They don't mind making others sad as long as they've been able to increase their account balance. If you have this approach to life, you'll not be able to see the pitfalls you might fall into because you'll not be meticulous enough to pay attention to detail. Greed can make you stop considering all the dangers that are associated with a deal. So always set out to do things right. Be that entrepreneur that will be a fantastic example of how to achieve financial freedom without losing your soul to future generations, pouring yourself into serving others. Nothing else can make you feel like you're making your life count than when you're serving others with your life. There are many articles and books that have been written in recent times that have focused on self-love. Indeed, these attempts are understandable, especially due to the number of people that are taking their lives all over the world. However, we need to be careful to avoid curing an extreme with another extreme. In the bid to encourage people to value themselves and care for themselves, we might end up promoting selfishness. Our natural tendency as human beings is to be selfish. This is the reason for envy that leads to sabotaging the efforts of others. We all want to be in the spotlight and made to feel that we matter. So we don't need anyone to encourage us as much before we start focusing on ourselves to the detriment of others. Nonetheless, we need a lot of encouragement and motivation to place the needs of others above ourselves. When we eventually do, life becomes more worthwhile and meaningful. We will have more reasons to be happy when we realize that there are many people that have reasons to keep on living because of our sacrifices and efforts. Why should you sacrifice that feeling for personal gains? In this video, we'll talk about practices that can enhance clarity and focus. Indeed, there are experts and counselors you can meet that can help you find a reason to live. Still, you can do it yourself if you have the right information. There are some practices that can help you discover yourself by giving you clarity of thought. Remember that you cannot make quality decisions unless you address your thought pattern. The practices below will strip you of sentiments and emotions. which will enhance your clarity and focus. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is a simple but effective tool that can enhance your clarity and focus in tremendous ways. In fact, it's the easiest of all the 5 practices listed in this chapter. All you need to do to practice mindfulness is to focus on whatever you're doing without allowing something else to take away your attention. When you are eating and watching TV at the same time, you are not practicing mindfulness. You should either choose to eat and enjoy the meal to the fullest, or focus on the TV show and make the best out of it. The human mind isn't designed to focus on 2 things at the same time, unlike a video camera. A video camera can capture many things happening at the same time. You can rewind it and focus on whatever aspect of the event is important to you. If you try that as a human being, you'll not get the best out of anything. One of the reasons people set vague goals that aren't feasible is that they were distracted while thinking about the targets. Practice mindfulness to train your mind to focus on the task ahead. This approach will help you to set attainable goals and give you the focus to achieve them. Meditation. Meditation is similar to mindfulness because they are trying to achieve the same target. However, they aren't the same. There are 2 main types of meditation, guided and unguided. Guided meditation involves finding an expert that can help you to practice. You might call the trainer to come to your house, or you might go to a class where you can be taught. Still, the training doesn't have to be with a physical trainer. You can also leverage podcasts and other means that involve listening to audio classes that can help you practice effectively. On the other hand, unguided meditation doesn't require the help of an expert. In this type, you will have to find the type of meditation that works for you and stick with it. This approach isn't recommended for beginners because it involves a lot of experimentation, which might be time-wasting. Unguided meditation is of different types. It might be in the form of a body scan, loving kindness, and other kinds. If you get a good grasp of the practice and invest time into training, you will be glad you did. Scientists and the testimony of some celebrities have proven that meditation has numerous benefits, including enhanced focus. Yoga. According to experts, yoga is a practice that leads to the union of individual consciousness with universal consciousness. In other words, it's a practice that brings perfect harmony to the mind and body. You need your mind to be in tranquility and your body to be free of stress to make the right decisions. So it's a no-brainer to inculcate yoga into your daily or weekly schedule, depending on how busy you are. There is no doubt that this practice will enhance your clarity and focus. Still, it does more than that. Other benefits of practicing yoga include back pain relief, improvement of strength, balance, and flexibility. It has also been proven to be able to help against the symptoms of arthritis. It boasts heart health and helps you to relax so that you will be able to sleep better. The people that practice yoga regularly have also been reported to have more energy and have better moods. So apart from the fact that you want to practice it to help you keep your focus, there are also other numerous benefits you can enjoy by practicing yoga daily. Regular planning. Everyone has a plan whether they realize it or not. Even when you have decided not to plan, you are planning to fail. So the place of planning and starting with clarity cannot be overemphasized. Planning is not a once-and-for-all activity. It is a culture you should have. In fact, you should not step into a day without a plan. Time invested in planning isn't wasted. Rather, it's invested to help you make quality decisions at different parts of the day. What are those things you want to achieve for the day? Take a sheet of paper and list them out. You can also use your smartphone for this exercise. The best way to make the planning effective is to list out the things you want to achieve in order of urgency. Once you are done planning, set out to start doing what you have planned as soon as possible. If you are using a sheet of paper, tick each task after you have completed it. The positive feeling you derive from completing your task one after the other as the day comes to an end will give you positive vibes. If you live your life like this every day, it'll be difficult for you to have a bad day. Journaling. Journaling is a culture of documenting your thoughts and plans. It's an effective planning technique that can give you clarity and help you to eliminate uncertainty. Instead of using a sheet of paper to plan every day, you can leverage a journal. This approach is more coordinated and will help you to track your progress. It can help you evaluate your effectiveness and efficiency at the end of the week, month, or year. Journaling can help you know how many tasks you planned and how many of them you were able to complete at the end of the particular period. It can spur you to work harder if you've not been hitting your targets. It can also make you feel good about yourself, especially when you discover that you've been achieving your goals. Anything that will help you to fight off distractions is a welcome reprieve in a world where it is increasingly difficult to keep one's focus. So practicing journaling is a sensible decision because it will help you in this regard. In this video, we'll discover about how to reclaim clarity and focus. Has there been a time in your life that you knew the direction you were headed in life until something happened? This is a reality many people face in the world today. Some shocking and devastating events can occur that can make it look as though your world is crashing. Sometimes you are at fault, while in some cases, it has nothing to do with you. Either way, you can still get back to what you used to be. The tips in this chapter will help you in that regard. Forgive yourself. The first thing you need to do after you discover that you have lost focus is to let go of the past. It begins by forgiving yourself. It's natural that you feel bad about yourself and regret making the wrong decisions. However, you'll not gain anything from incessantly reprimanding yourself about the mistakes you have made in the past. You cannot make progress and reclaim clarity when you keep thinking about what could have been. You cannot bring back the past again. It's gone, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's in your best interest to forget about it. Focus on the future. You aren't the first person to make the mistake you made. If you aren't convinced, search online. You will realize that there are many individuals that have even committed worse errors, yet they were able to retrace their steps and make the best out of their lives. Therefore, don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Don't convince yourself that your mistake is the worst in the history of human beings because it isn't true. You slipped, of course, it isn't the ideal situation. Still, the best part of your life can be ahead of you if you choose to stand up. Identify where you missed it. After forgiving yourself, the next stage is to recognize where you failed. If you don't do a proper evaluation and analysis of your past mistakes, you'll keep making the same mistake. Anyone can make a mistake, so you shouldn't make too much out of it if you fail. You shouldn't even be too perturbed when your mistakes happened around the same period. It's possible, however, you should be concerned when you make the same type of mistake. It's a sign that you're not learning from your past failures, which should give you concerns. Where did you miss it? Was it at your workplace or in your relationship? Once you identify the place, start working on making things right again. You should forgive yourself. You might also need to apologize to the people that were hurt by your actions. Let it be clear to them that you didn't want to hurt them but were carried away by your emotions or any other thing. There is no restoration without reconciliation, and reconciliation will be difficult when you're not ready to admit that you were wrong. So don't hesitate to tender your sincere apology to whoever needs it to move on to the next level. Recognize why you got it wrong. The best way to ensure that you don't fall into the same trap again is to analyze why you fell into it in the first place. Was it because you were greedy? Did you trust the person too much when you should have been more cautious? Was it because you didn't do enough findings? Was it because you were impatient? You need to identify what made you fall. Once you recognize the reason you made a mistake, it will be easier to avoid it the next time you find yourself in that kind of situation. It's not good enough to be able to identify where you missed you. You should be able to tell why you made the mistake. You should also be able to tell why you made the mistake. The reason you made the mistake is more important than identifying the fact that you should have done better. When you apologize to the people you've hurt due to your actions, they need more than an apology. They want to be able to tell that you will not hurt them and disappoint them again if they give you another chance. The best way you can show that you've learned your lesson is by telling them what went wrong the last time. Go back to the beginning. Once you have identified where and why you lost clarity and focus, you are ready for the next stage, which is to go back to the way things were before. Retracing your steps will be easier if you practice journaling or any form of documentation. If you have somewhere you wrote your plans and how you intend to achieve them, go back there. Check the things you wrote and remind yourself of the positive emotions you had when you wrote them in the first place. It might not come back immediately, but you'll eventually feel good again as you start doing them all over again. It's not every time that you might need to start all over again. In some cases, you might only need to pick up where you stopped. If you have the opportunity, you should be grateful and should give it your best. Don't be under too much pressure to prove a point because it can be your undoing. Rather, be determined to stay on track. It's not every time you'll get a second chance. If life offers you one, grab the opportunity with both hands and make the best out of it. Implement measures of staying on track. Now that you have the opportunity to reclaim clarity and start all over again, what can you do to stay on track? You need to ask yourself this question and provide an answer to it. If you were distracted because you were moving with the wrong set of people, what are the measures you have in place to ensure that such people aren't found around you again? If the wrong influence came through social media, don't hesitate to block negative people and leave the pages that aren't profitable to you. No influence is neutral. It will either improve your life or make it worse. So, you should always evaluate the kind of influence a person or exposure to a particular experience has on your life. It's when you do this that you'll be able to have control over the influences you allow into your life. No one should come into your life without your approval. It isn't being snobbish. Instead, you are just being selective to ensure that you don't have the wrong influences in your life. In this video, we'll talk about keeping your eyes on the ball. It's fantastic to discover yourself, have specific targets, and be motivated to see your dreams come to pass. Still, it is also crucial that you keep moving in the right direction. As a human being, you're prone to distractions, yet you need to do your best to ensure that you keep your eyes on the ball. The hacks in this chapter will be beneficial to you in this regard. Don't overrate yourself. You are a human being, and you should never forget that. Do you know anyone that used to be full of life and focus that messed up? You shouldn't laugh at such people. Instead, their fall should be a lesson to you. It should make you realize that it is possible to drop the ball in the midst of distractions and challenging situations. Don't say what happened to that person can never happen to you. You should have a realistic evaluation of yourself to keep your feet on the ground. When you admit that you can make mistakes, it will help you to keep your focus and stay away from distractions as much as possible. Even Superman is allergic to kryptonite. So don't have a delusion that you cannot lose touch with reality and ruin everything you have worked hard to achieve. If it has happened to someone else, it can happen to you. Always remind yourself that you are not impeccable. The moment you lose sight of that reality, you're already singing your swan song. It'll not take long before an event reminds you of the need to keep your focus. Don't change what works. It's a good attribute when you're open to new experiences and trying something new. Still, you cannot afford to be living your life based on a trial and error approach. You'll be wasting time and energy that way. Besides, you might hurt yourself along the line. Therefore, it's best to stick to an approach that has been yielding results. Don't be intimidated by the success of others who are doing things in a way that is different from yours. It's not every formula and technique that works for others that will work for you. For example, if you discovered that the evening is your peak energy period, then that should be the period you should do most of the tedious work you have. If you have more clarity and engagement during that time, take advantage of it and do the works that require your utmost attention. Don't start doing things in the morning because some people feel that your style is weird. As long as it's working for you, stick with it and neglect the words of every critic. Stay true to yourself. One of the best things that can happen to you is to discover yourself. Discovering yourself implies that you'll have a good grasp of your strengths and weaknesses. It also means that you know the kind of things that suits you. Once you know who you are, stay true to yourself and keep heading in the right direction. There will always be tantalizing new trends that will attract you. Your friends and families will also suggest things that you can do. However, it's critical that you don't lose yourself to please others. You are a human being, so you will make mistakes once in a while. Still, it's better to make mistakes while staying true to yourself than get the right results by pretending that you are who you are not. Remember that every drama and acting will elapse. Don't allow the pressure to meet up with social standards make you start doing things you will regret. Besides, you can only feel comfortable and be at your best when you do things in the ways that suit you as an individual. Once you lose yourself, you have lost it all. Avoid social comparison. Social comparison is one of the major reasons people struggle to live life with clarity. You'll always struggle to find your true north when you have a culture of comparing yourself with other people. It's good to have mentors and people that you are looking forward to emulating. Yet the fact that these individuals achieve their success by following a particular footprint doesn't mean that you will achieve it in the same way. Your uniqueness has to shine through while following a guideline to make the most of your abilities. Moreover, it's not healthy to compare yourself with others. There will always be people that seem to be more successful than you in this world. Don't envy anyone because it will make you look down on yourself. You'll keep asking yourself, is this all I can do with my life? No one should give you a benchmark for success. You should put pressure on yourself to be the best version of yourself. Still, you need to learn to celebrate every progress you make while striving for more. Don't feel that something is wrong with your life because you are yet to hit a particular target. Keep track of your motives. The reason you are doing something is more important than the fact that you are doing it. It is your motive that will determine whether you will be satisfied or regret in the long run. For example, you might decide to start a healthy eating plan and exercise routine to lose weight. Naturally, this is a commendable desire. Still, your motive can ruin how you'll feel about achieving your aim. If you are doing it to get the acceptance and approval of others, you might be disappointed in the long run. The people might praise you initially. However, you might soon discover to your disappointment that it takes more than a great shape to be and stay in the good books of the people around you. The fact that you have an attractive shape doesn't guarantee that your spouse will not cheat on you. It also doesn't mean that people around you will respect you. So ensure that you carry out your goals with the desire to improve the quality of your life. Any other reason is likely to end in regret. Keep the right company. No matter who you are in your approach to life, the kind of people that surround you can make or mar you. If you have the wrong people around you, they will always find fault with you and give you reasons to feel that you are not doing enough. They might put unnecessary pressure on you and make you start living a fake life. Everyone cannot be your friend. You should be able to keep a lid on how people come into your life. The fact that a person is your colleague at work doesn't mean that he or she should be able to tell you anything. In the same way, the fact that an individual lives on your street doesn't mean that you should have a cordial relationship. Ensure that your friends are people that share the same value as you. Don't be afraid to rock a boat and leave a relationship that is affecting you negatively. If you want to keep a clear view of life and stay true to yourself, avoid hanging around the wrong people. It doesn't take long to discover that an individual doesn't have a rudder in life. A person that is living without a direction will be found trying so hard to prove a point every day. Such an individual will have many abandoned projects. He or she will be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. He or she will always be prey to trends. When he or she finds out that cryptocurrency is making waves, he or she will invest in it without considering the pros and cons of the decision. When he or she sees a friend doing well due to investment in estate management, he or she will try it too. Indeed, there is nothing wrong with trying new things that can enhance your chances of achieving financial freedom. However, it's a problem when you have a culture of jumping from one career path to the other within a short period. Thankfully, you have learned how to avoid living life this way. You should know what to do now to ensure that you start a day with a clear view of what to do. Indeed, life is full of uncertainties. Still, you'll increase your chances of living a quality and meaningful life when you have clearly defined goals. This journey into self-discovery should have empowered you with all you need to start with clarity all the time. Take more responsibility for your life and watch yourself blossom into that man or woman of your dream.